Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome back to Pick and Roll. We've returned on the Board NBA YouTube channel and Twitter account as part of the Hammer Betting Network to bring you some more NBA discussion and betting content. We had a little bit of a holiday. We had 3 days off last week to just give us a little bit of a break. I certainly enjoyed my time off. As much as I love doing this show, it was nice to have a little bit of a relaxation for 3 days. I was just talking to Pips before the show. Unfortunately, he was sick over the course of that holiday. So there wouldn't have been a show anyway. But happy to see that he is feeling better. Happy to see that we're in here for the new year, back on the show with all of you guys. Just kind of a little icebreaker to start us off. Pips, I know you said you were sick, but while we were off, was there any more betting that you were doing? If so, was it successful? Or what
Yeah,
else
I
did you
was
have going
doing
on?
I was doing a standard betting because it was like the only thing I could do. I was just staying up all night and watching games and laying tied to my bed and it was pretty successful, pretty good results over the last couple of days. It's interesting. So
Like that. Your flu game is on the way. So with that, we are in 2023 now. As I mentioned, Happy New Year. Let's do a little bit of a recap of what we had over the course of 2022. So obviously, we didn't quite start at the beginning of this season that's currently ongoing. We started a little bit after that, but since we have started, since Pips has been giving out the picks, it has been very successful. As I always say, we track the picks on BetStamp, the BetStamp app in the App Store, or Google Play Store, or betstamp.app on your browser. Let's go to our page now, adding this into the stream. So this is just a main page where you can line shop across various sports books, a very powerful tool when you're betting on anything. But if you go to the find better section, you see pick and roll on top of the media picks. And 51 and 35 on the season. That is a positive in 9 units, 9.2% return on investment. These are very impressive numbers. And the BetStamp account is picking up a ton of followers. It's now at 222 followers. So thank you to anybody following over there. Just a quick recap of the two picks that we had. We had over 31.5 for Joel Embiid and over 30.5 for Luka Doncic. I'm kind of chuckling because, if you thought Joel Embiid was an easy cash when he got 48 points, Luka Doncic made NBA history in the later game. So that was really fun to follow from a betting perspective here. We're not going to, it's been a while, so no need to recap the Joel Embiid part. Joel Embiid was comfortable all through the game. I think he had like mid-20s at halftime. Luka Doncic, and this is going to be the segue into the discussion topic that we have. Luka Doncic dropped 60, 20, and 10 in that game. An NBA record. Nobody has ever gotten a 60, 20, 10 game, including 20 rebounds, ever before in NBA history. Even Wilt Chamberlain, who just owns every NBA record, has never even done that. So we will be talking about Luka Doncic, but just want to remind you guys, make sure you're tailing the picks. Make sure you're subscribing on YouTube. Please give us subscriptions on YouTube. We're getting close to that 500 subscriber mark because we're going to be coming through every weekday at Monday through Friday, giving you NBA betting content and discussion. But most importantly, Pips coming through with the free picks that are doing so well. Pips, just your thoughts on the record so far. Obviously, you're quite happy with it, but maybe your sort of confidence. Can we continue to come through with consistent picks like this from yourself?
I would say over the last 5 to 6 years, this was like pretty consistent. The win rate, I was always like between 8 and 10% on ROI, and between like 57 and 60% win rate on props. So it only depends on the price we are getting for the ROI, but it's consistent over the last, I don't know, like 5,000 picks. So I think this should continue. I also had like my first bet with Hammer Betting was an article with two bets. They were both 1.5 units, and they were both winners. And then we switched to the show. So it's a bit better than it looks, but I think we can continue with this with that pace. We have some unlucky ones, we have some lucky ones. It evens out, and I think we are currently on the right track.
Very much so, especially when you consider the first week was a pretty what is maybe just the first one comes to mind. It's dismal. It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't the best, and it's just been a
Yeah,
tremendous
and
turnaround. So,
and the Friday not the last one, but the one
Oh,
before.
that
Yeah,
1 in 3 day where two bets is by the hook. That one, yeah. What a bad day.
yeah,
But made it up last week for sure. And
yeah.
so far in the season, as I've said, it's just been a great time to get involved with the pick and roll show. So again, want to remind you to like it on YouTube, subscribe here. Please give rate and review 5 stars if you're listening to this in podcast form. Just take a few seconds out of your day to show a little extra support to the channel because we come through, with the 5 episodes a week completely for free. That's all we ask, just a little bit of extra support. But as I was mentioning, we want to talk about Luka Doncic. And, people are pretty critical of NBA teams in general. Just even this, we're almost halfway through the season, but it's just a testament to how quickly seasons can kind of look like they're turning around here. The Dallas Mavericks, who we've considered many times as a horrible team without Doncic, the good news is they have him. They've won 6 in a row. And from kind of a play in obscurity position, they're up to top 4 in the Western Conference. And we know that this team is just essentially Luka Doncic, however far he takes them. And he is taking them quite far at the moment. 21 and 16 on the season. He had that outstanding 60-point triple double. I think he's had also 2 50-point games since then. What do you think has kind of changed for Doncic in this stretch? Because is it just like he understands he has to do everything, or has the team kind of made adjustments? What have been your thoughts watching him play?
And so the first one is like he had three 160 and 250 point games in the stretch of the 7 days. That's like I don't
Unbelievable.
think that's even the prime Harden wasn't doing the stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, his shots are starting to fall. Like he was 30% from three in the like first 20 games, and he's now up to almost 40%. Like he's now at 37%, but that's changed from 30% to 37 in the matter of these 6 games. So he started making threes finally, and he's shooting a lot. He had 2 games with 30 plus field goal attempts and almost double digit free throws in 6 games in a row. So yeah, he's getting everything. But also one of the things, I'm not still up on them because as we can see, they played Minnesota Timberwolves, who were down like they are like I think lost like 7 in a row now. Then they play Houston Rockets. Then they play Lakers. Then they play New York Knicks without Brunson and RJ Barrett. Then they played Houston Rockets again. Then they played Spurs. Like those are the teams that won't even make the play-in tournaments. I mean, Knicks will are going to, but they were down 2 of the 4 best players. So I think it was just the easiest schedule you can imagine. So yeah,
I
and
know you're not trying to take anything away from Doncic with
yeah, of
the team they
course.
played. It's
But
mostly the team in general, but like I think this is a bad way to think about it, but it's almost like Doncic has to play like this for them to consistently win like this. But that's kind of like what the case is for the player. So you maybe not as high on Dallas. So they're 21 and 16. They're 4 seed. You can like we saw easily the move from play into that spot. They can easily move back down to a playing position. I think it's pretty clear right now. Doncic is the best player in the NBA. He's averaging 34 points, which is highest in the league on just this is absurd. He's shooting 51% while doing that. Absolutely absurd. 37% from three. Dallas, how bad can they be for Doncic to still win MVP this season? So, like, if Dallas were a 7 seed, would Doncic still be able to be in that MVP discussion? What's your thoughts on that?
I think he could be in the NBA in the MVP's discussion. But uh, I would say Luka Doncic is tied for the NBA best player. I would say tied with Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, I was going to talk
And
about him next.
yeah, and if we have Denver at the first seed with 60 wins and Dallas at 7 seed with 45 wins, I think it's pretty clear that Jokic will get his three-peat. But if they are they are closer, if like Denver is the third seed with 52 wins and we have Dallas with 47 wins and they are like fifth, I think I think it's up to Luka to lose it. So yeah, but he just started this crazy stretch, And yeah, if he end the season and he is like 35 points, 9 rebounds, and 10 assists average, like you just can't not. I don't think there is any world to not give him the award. But I will also say, uh, Nikola Jokic over the last 15 games, so in the entire December, he's
Yep.
up to the 30 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists. So that's not worse than the Luka numbers. And he's even though Luka is shooting like 52, 53% from the field, Nikola Jokic is shooting 62% from the field. Like he's having 70% true shooting. Like that's 13% above the league average, and he's like still creating for others way more and still scoring a lot inside. That's like unbelievable.
I think if Doncic is in the top, if the Dallas Mavericks are in the top six, they make the playoffs. I think that that's enough for him to be in the conversation without factoring in the Dallas record as a criticism to his MVP candidacy. If they're a play-in team and get into playoffs or just miss the playoffs flat out, I really struggle to be able to give that to him, especially the way Jokic is playing right now. The Nuggets are the one seed. I think if the Nuggets are the one seed, you can't really stop Jokic from winning this because he's right up there in terms of play with Doncic. Plus, Denver looks so good because of him. So I think you have to make the playoffs to win MVP. I think that's like the base. You can't win MVP if your team misses the playoffs. I know it's an individual award, but because it's such a difficult award to give out with so many guys deserving, like we were talking about Jason Tatum, how deserving he's been as well. I think you got to make the
Giannis,
playoffs.
Giannis is
Yeah,
even
the way
better.
Giannis is playing too, and you see the Milwaukee Bucks, the way they've kind of looked since their 0-9 start. Giannis has been absolutely outstanding with that team as well. There's so many guys. I mean, we
Yeah.
could keep talking about. We could probably name 10 guys who could be in this conversation into the season. Like 2 weeks ago, it was like Tatum and Giannis were up there. Who's going to catch them? Well, now all of a sudden it's Jokic and Doncic. Who's going to catch those guys? So things change so quickly in the NBA, as I mentioned, which is why you should never fix it as a fan on the small sample size. It's always about the lengthy sample sizes, which matter the most. We have like a little bit of time here. I kind of wanted your thoughts because I know you are a Houston Rockets fan. This is off script, so sorry to kind of
Yeah, no
get you
problem.
off guard here. James Harden, little bit of a report came out suggesting the Rockets could be a team he goes back to in free agency at the end of the season. Just kind of like 1 minute. Rockets rebuilding. Draft pick probably pending on who they get, like if they can get a top 2 pick. But how would you feel about James Harden going back to the Rockets next season?
I think that I will love it, but I think this is one season too soon because I think he gets. I'm a huge Harden fan as well as the Houston Rockets, and I would love to him to play it for my favorite team again. But when they are a bit more contending, like 1 year, they need 1 more year to get there, and and I want 1 more year of Harden being on a contending team to give
Yep.
us chance to win a title. So that's like I will love it, but not the next season, but the season after. So and that's difficult because of the contract, and we'll see. But I want like him there, but I want him to get another chance to get a
For
ring
that ring.
because
For that
like
ring.
he's my favorite player. So
And also just kind of curiosity now. So I live just outside of Toronto. I'm a Toronto Raptors fan. You live in Croatia. You're a Houston Rockets fan. I've never asked, how did that manufacture itself? How are you a Rockets fan?
yeah, it was James Harden.
I was
Like
gonna guess is
I,
Harden. So
I
you're just a
was
big
I,
Harden
I,
fan.
I was huge football fan, like soccer fan,
Mhm.
and I was getting into the NBA like heavily. I was always watching NBA, but like this huge fan that like watch 500 to 1,000 games a year. That switch came in 2015, and that was like watching James Harden, prime James Harden with yeah, that was amazing. And yeah, it was just and after he went down, I was like always on the underdog side. So they were bowling with the dynasty of Golden State Warriors. So that was like always of trying to on the underdog side. And then when he left, there was a lot of young guys that I loved there, and yeah, I just stick with them, of course. And
Good to see. Good
Love,
to see you
love this.
sticking with them.
Yeah,
It's speaking from my experience as a Raptors fan, it's rewarding to stick with a team that people really always count out. And when they reach the pinnacle, there's no better
I'll
feeling.
just say one thing. I'm an Arsenal fan, so I think that goes as well with this. And we are
Yeah.
currently in the
Hey,
first place.
that
So
could be. Hey,
yeah,
you stuck with them through a barren period of like a decade, but you might be coming through right now. They're favorites to win
two
the,
decades.
the EPL title. That well, yeah, I guess since 2004 they haven't won the Premier League. So yeah, so
Yeah.
18 years, 2 decades. You stuck with them, but there's no better feeling than reaching the top with your team. I am not an Arsenal fan. I'm a Manchester United fan. I actually have a bunch of my tattoos are Manchester United related, so a little bit of a clash there. But I'm in a little bit of a dry spell. With the next time United win a title, that is going to be like the pinnacle of a feeling because it's so difficult to win those titles. And when you're a fan of a good team, you kind of take it for granted winning because it's been United haven't won a title since 2016 now, and it's a little bit it's the longest by far of my life since they've gone without winning a trophy. So appreciate your teams always because there's no better feeling than sticking with that team and having them win. All right. Without further ado, guys, let's move on into our official picks segment of the show. We have 3 official plays for you coming from Pips. First one is a same game parlay featuring Pips' Rockets, but also featuring, unfortunately, maybe for the Rockets, Luka Doncic and the Mavericks in town. Here's the first play.
Yeah, the first play, Luka Doncic over 29.5 points, combined with 7.5 assists. So these two teams played twice over the last couple of, I think, 10 days. And Luka Doncic had one of the 50s
Yep.
against my team. So in the first game, he had 50 points and 10 assists. And in the next game, he had 35 points and 13 assists. And I'm taking this one because of the blowout chances, and I think this line is achievable in 3 quarters because Luka Doncic is playing entire first and entire third and half of the second and more than half of the last one. So I'm just the last game. Actually, he finished the third quarter with 32 points and 10 assists. So if we were to the blowout, he will wouldn't be able to cover the 33 and a half points. So and he did cover this line. So I'm taking this like this is just a bit blowout protection, but I like his 33 and a half points too. And Rockets are the most assists in the league, and Luka Doncic he played just a bit more over the 3 quarters and he had 20 potential assists. The game before he had, I think, 24 potential assists. So if he gets 20 or more potential assists, he's clearing this 7.5 line easily. And I just love this spot.
I mean,
If they
I
are
believe
making blowout, some of his teammates needs to score, obviously. So that means that goes well together.
I'm trying to remember if that 50-point game against the Rockets. I believe you also made a play on Doncic over 30
Yeah.
points in that game. That was one of the winning plays. So I was like, okay, so going back to that, you like Doncic. We bet on him a lot. You like betting against the Rockets, and that has been a bit of a winning combination.
Yeah.
So obviously going back to that one for today. But let's move into the second play now. The only straight play out of the 3, and this is in the Hawks game who are visiting the Golden State Warriors.
So my bet for this is Trae Young over 27.5 points, which is minus 110 at DraftKings, and I think it's pretty widely available at this line and this price. So if we can just look at the last couple of games of Trae Young, he shot 40% or better from 3 in 5 straight games, and when shot is falling for Trae Young, he's getting over this line. He scored 31 points against the Hornets in a blowout. Then he scored 37 against the Magic, and then 34 against the Bulls in that weird game where he had his assist. He was playing more of the ball and scoring, and then he had 2 unders against the Detroit Pistons. He scored 26 points in 3 quarters. It was blowout, but he managed to score 26 points while getting trapped, blitzed, hedged on like every screen, and he was still on the way to cover this line. He would end up covering this line if he get any 4 quarter minutes. And then he played the Indiana Pacers, and that was crazy. They were doubling teaming on his own side of the court. Like whenever he touched the ball, two guys on him, three guys on him, and he still was able to score 22 points, and it was amazing. And Golden State Warriors won't do anything, any blitzing, any trapping, high paced game. They are allowing a ton of points to opposing point guards. Uh, there is no Wiggins. Clay Thompson can't defend him, so they will probably put Jordan Poole on Trae Young, and that's like
Yeah.
one of the most mismatches in the entire league. So I think, and they are also playing drop coverage, the deepest drop coverage in the entire league, like even deeper than with Brook Lopez, and without point of attack, a good point of attack defender, like in a drop. I think Trae Young will have like 10 or more wide open floaters. His 3 point is falling down. Golden States are fouling a lot, and his free throw match, and like everything looks perfect for Trae Young tonight.
Yeah, that just the thought of Poole trying to defend Poole, obviously great player. The thought of him trying to defend Trae Young, um, I don't think that's going to really work out if we go with that. If they go with that, but I like that this is a 1.5 1 point spread, so blowout, possibly blowout is very slim. I like that the over under in this game, as you mentioned, it's high pace. The over under is sitting around just average like 237. So expecting fireworks in this one, expecting Trae Young to have good matchups, really good spot on Trae Young. Let's move in now to our third play. Lakers at the Hornets. LaMelo Ball and LeBron are the features here.
Yeah, so you have LaMelo Ball over 19.5 points and LeBron James over 28.5 points, which is minus 105 at DraftKings. So if you take a look at LaMelo Ball, he scored 21 or more points in 11 straight games. So this one is pretty positive matchup for him. High paced, no AD to play defense. The last game they played, it was the game. I think it was like a week ago, maybe more, like 10
Yes, I
days
believe
ago.
so.
Yeah, and LaMelo scored 23 points on 22 field goal attempts. So way below his shooting average, and he still ended up scoring 23 points. And in that game, we had LeBron James at 34. And the last game of the LeBron James was pretty epic. It was his birthday, but he
Yep.
scored almost 40 or almost 50 points, and he was unstoppable. Even they were throwing like five guys at him, and he was still scoring. And if you take a look at the games over the last, like, since AD went down, he scored like 35, 33, 30, 33, 31, 36, 34, 38, and then 28 in a blowout against the Magic, 27 in a blowout against the Heat, and 47 against the Hawks. So he was on the way to cover in every game. Two games he didn't cover. He had 27, 28, 27 against the great Miami defense, still was on a pace to cover, and 28 against the Orlando Magic, and only 31 minutes in a huge blowout. So I just love him tonight in this spot against the team. And also worth noting, Hornets are allowing the most points per game over the last 20 games since LaMelo came back, and the pace is higher now. And Kelly Oubre is out, so one less defender to put on LeBron James. So everything looks perfect for both of these guys tonight, and yeah, that's it.
So kind of in the way where Anthony Davis really started taking over games because he realized he had to be the best player for the Lakers to have any chance. Well, LeBron is now understanding that if I'm not scoring like 35 plus, 30 plus in these games, the Lakers have no chance. I sense a bit of frustration with LeBron with the state of the team. They're not very good, obviously. And he's 38. Time is ticking. At some point, it has to affect his ability to play basketball, his age. So he wants to be a winner, and he's doing everything in his power to do that. So I love that. And LaMelo Ball, despite the injury start season, has been great since coming back. So loving that play. Let's recap all three plays for you guys to finish off the day. First of all, Luka Doncic playing against the Houston Rockets. Same game parlay with him over 29.5 points and over 7.5 assists. That is minus 118 at FanDuel. We go to the Hawks and Warriors game for pick number 2. Trae Young over 27.5 points in a high-paced game where he likely can have favorable defensive matchups. That is minus 110 at DraftKings. And the third play, as we just said, Lakers are playing the Hornets. LaMelo Ball over 19.5 points and LeBron James over 28.5 points. That is minus 105 at DraftKings. That has been your pick and roll show for Monday, kicking off the new year, hopefully on the right foot. Thank you all for tuning into today's video. Best way to start the year would be a nice sweep of the slate. Let's see if we can provide that for you guys for today. Remember, catch pick and roll every weekday at 11:15 a.m. Eastern time on the Board NBA YouTube channel and on the Twitter account at the Board NBA. Please smash that like button on YouTube. Please follow us on Twitter and subscribe to the YouTube as well. If you're listening to this in podcast form, thank you so much for tuning into the audio. Please remember to rate and review 5 stars to help spread the good word of the show. 51-35 record so far this season. Make sure you're sharing the content, telling your friends about it, because we want to see how many people we can get on the followings here. Very close to 500 subscribers on YouTube. And finally, check out thehammer.bet in your browser for more sports betting content. Me and my picks will be back tomorrow for more from Pick and Roll.